Hello, this is Franz Roessler. I'm the Austrian Trade Commissioner here in Hong Kong, and it's my pleasure to be, one of the partners for today's event. I'm gonna guide you through the first part, and you all witnessed that a baby is hopefully born today. We're gonna have, after the long-standing love affair between Austria and Hong Kong, hopefully another reason why we should like and love each other, which is today in the field of life sciences and biotech. A little bit of background, how this event came together. Mostly our offices, Advantage Austria and Invest Hong Kong, was approached by several stakeholders for the life science sector from Austria, from Hong Kong. We have been in contact with several of the companies, and we thought, why don't we just bring everyone together? Why don't we just bring everyone together into one room to see, the energy in this field, and to see if we can work together also in the future. So this is several of the partners that the event, they are interested in life science. From the Hong Kong side, Invest Hong Kong, Hong Kong Science and Technology Park, Hong Kong Bio. But also from the Austrian side, we have Life Science Austria, APA, Invest in Hong Kong, and also, of course, our Consulate General is behind this initiative. So it's a good networking event, and we're gonna try to make it as relaxed as possible. So please, it's gonna be, of course, PowerPoint and lots of information, but the idea is really that we show you some of the people that are interested in bringing Austria and Hong Kong together in the life science sector. So the people are most important. Later on, we will share this whole presentation that you're going to see with all of you. We're also going to record this session and make the link available. So later on, you can, again, listen to some parts or see what others were doing. And we're also going to give you from all the speakers later also the contact information. Many of them are also on LinkedIn. So the idea is that we all bring everyone together in this room. Microphone off during the presentation, and then I think we are ready to go. So our good partners for this event are Invest Hong Kong, always good friends, and we had similar event recently to bring the people together. And it's a pleasure again to have Wing-Hin Chung, the head of investment promotion of Invest Hong Kong Berlin, with us. Wing, you are here, so I'll hand over to you for some remarks, please. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much, Franz. Yeah. In the new year of the tiger, very warm welcome to our webinar on life sciences, and a very good morning or good afternoon from Berlin to Hong Kong and Austria. With my team here in Berlin, we support companies and startups from Europe, including Austria, to set up an office in Hong Kong. And after the fantastic Winter Games in Beijing, where Austria won 6 gold medals and 17 in total, we see that there's a high demand for Austrian products in China. Today, we want to focus on life sciences, and I thank very much our friends in Austria and Hong Kong for organizing this important webinar. Life science is a very important topic. We have seen the many global solutions developed during the pandemic, and without constant exchange about the best strategies, we would not be able to find good solutions. And Hong Kong offers a perfect platform for this as a melting pot between East and West. But also because it is still one of the freest economies in the world, it is very easy to set up a business there with low taxes and access to the large markets of China. And our science park in Hong Kong has also evolved into an excellent center for research and development, and many new companies from all over the world have set up in the science park. Today, Franz and his team have created a wonderful agenda with excellent speakers on their topics, and I'm very, very happy to also today welcome Mr. Karl ERNST, the Consul General of Austria for Hong Kong and Macao, to this webinar, who's very supportive of Hong Kong and fostering the exchange between Austria and Hong Kong and Macao. And now I would like to pass the floor to Mr. Karl ERNST. The floor is yours, Mr. ERNST.
Hello and welcome everybody, also from my side. I don't know if can you see me? Okay, very good. This, as mentioned already, life science and biotech is a very important sector also for Austria, and we have a lot to offer there. In this respect, R&D, research and development in Austria is about 3.23% of GDP, which is second highest in Europe. And in that respect, Austria is actually a great place for Hong Kong and Chinese companies to come and connect and invest. Secondly, life sciences and biotech generates at this point 5.8% of GDP, Austria's GDP, which is about the same as a tourism sector in Austria does. So this is a phenomenally important sector in the Austrian economy, certainly. For the Austrians participating here, warm welcome to all of you. And if you look at Hong Kong and the Hong Kong market, not just look at Hong Kong itself, 7.5 million people, but Hong Kong in the scope of the Greater Bay Area, and all of a sudden we have a market of 70 million people, just about like Germany. For our Hong Kong partners, of course, if you look at the Austrian market, that's also a rather small market, but then you look at the European Union, and Austria is also a large gateway to the eastern and southeastern part of Europe. So there are many multiplying factors for both parties there, and this is our job, Franz and I. And at this point, I'd like to thank Franz for putting this all together. Franz and I are trying to bridge the two, Austria and Hong Kong, and bring two partners together. This whole initiative, and you can see it behind Franz, you can also see it behind me, is part of the Refocus Austria program, and this is an initiative by the Austrian Foreign Ministry together with the Austrian economic chambers.
So the initiative is to it's a joint initiative, as you can see. I can already tell you as well. So mostly to show Austrian focus areas where we have some possibilities really to reach out to the world. So I think it's more concentrated efforts necessary nowadays, but it's similar to Hong Kong. So both really very much have to focus on certain areas going ahead. And actually all of Austria wants to join forces to to internationalize our business even further. And Karl and I really work closely together, like everywhere, all the offices in the world. So this is this Refocus Austria initiative. Okay, Karl, I tried to explain already Refocus Austria.
Yes,
yeah,
thank you. No, thanks very much. My internet conked out again. Sorry about that. Thank you for bringing that forward. Exactly, Refocus Austria to further and enhance the Austrian export industry, and also bring foreign businesses into Austria. And both Franz and I were working together to bring foreign investments into Austria and bring Austrian exports into our area of the world. And with this, nothing further to add, but very interested in hearing and learning all about biotech now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Karl, and Invest Hong Kong for this first get us into the mood. So now let's go down to business. So we're gonna have, as you can see, half an hour each to introduce Hong Kong's and Austria's life science sector. Hong Kong's life science sector will be Gregory Rall, will be the main host for this session, then Sonja Pollan from Life Science Austria. And then we really would like to give you some practical advice and introduce you to some partners, how you could really start, your further journey into each other's market. So without further ado, Gregory Rall, who was really very much behind today's session and idea to bring us all together. Gregory, we've been waiting quite long to tell us the story of Hong Kong, in the life science sector. The floor is yours now,
Thank you very much, Franz. So, Carola, please, next slide. Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Gregory Rall. I'm belonging to the Invest Hong Kong office in Berlin. I'm the senior manager in the sector of innovation and technology, covering biomedical AI and robotics for entire Europe. And today is very dedicated to life sciences and biomedical activities in Hong Kong, inviting as well Austrian stakeholders. So when you see the first picture, this is the skyline of Hong Kong. It's a very vibrant city, as mentioned, a population of 7.5 million, bridging businesses in entire Asia. And with this, I give you now a kind of overlook about our biomedical ecosystem. Next slide, please. Yeah, this was also mentioned by my superior, Dr. Wing-Hin. We are from the Hong Kong government. InvestHK is an agency for foreign direct investment for Hong Kong. We give services free of charge. We are professional and give you the best opportunities how to land in Hong Kong. Next slide, please. Yes, when you see Hong Kong, we are really based and centered in the middle of Asia, and this would count for 50% of the world's population. And within 5 hours flight, you can actually engage with very prominent markets, like, of course, mainland China, Japan, South Korea, Singapore, etc. So talking to us, placing in Hong Kong, you can have a good chance, an opportunity to proliferate your business in Asia. Next, please. Yes, this is a kind of initial snapshot about what is about Hong Kong. So Hong Kong is a very unique hub because of the history and the system. So we are very superior to standards and services. When you're talking to about Hong Kong, we have a very elegant tax regime. We have IP protection. We are the financial hub in Asia. In fact, we are the third biggest financial hub in the world. And later I will tell you that we are very leading in the IPO activities in Asia within biotechnology. Then you see here a kind of title, Greater Bay Area. This is one of our new initiatives. This means, of course, you place in Hong Kong, but we are not so narrow-minded. We team up with Greater Bay Areas. This will mean you can reach out to 11 cities and centers with a population of over 70 million people. Next slide, please. Life science. Next slide, please. Yes, this is the biomedical development in Hong Kong. This is always my starting slide, showing you in the initial phase a kind of value chain. Why is this important? The thing is, you will go through a certain journey when you land in Hong Kong, so it depends on your stage. Maybe you're more related to basic research, R&D, preclinical, in a preclinical phase, clinical trial phase, or you have already products. With this, you can tap into this ecosystem with major companies, smaller companies, service companies, CROs, CMOs, and leading hospitals and clinics. And with this, you can actually network and also co-develop products in Hong Kong. Next slide, please. Yes. When we talk about the healthcare system in Hong Kong, we have, of course, a public and private setup, of course, with private hospitals, 10%, and remaining public hospitals. But important is the regulation, and important is also that with our setup, you can actually bring faster your products to Hong Kong. When you're already approved in Europe or in America over FDA or in Japan, PMDA, you can easily get the approval in Hong Kong and sell your products in Hong Kong and soon reach out for mainland China. Then you see this kind of outline about the long expectancy, lifelong expectancy of people in Hong Kong. It's really the thing. They have good weather, they have good food, they have good standards, and one of the leading healthcare systems in the world. So they will become a little bit older. That's a very good point, but it's also a kind of challenge of aging society, aging population. And therefore we are reaching out, we want to reach out to Austrian companies to find new solutions for the specific problems. You know, when we talk about aging, longevity, when we talk about central nervous system, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's diseases, we need more solutions from you. Next slide, please. And one slide more, next. because both slides are about clinical trials in Hong Kong. So when you see Hong Kong, we have actually all this set up with our clinics and hospitals, and you will find all promising and prominent CROs located in Hong Kong. So when you're looking for specific clinical trials and you select the patient population, you can really work with the leading key opinion leaders in Hong Kong. Next slide, please. Yes, healthcare services developed in Hong Kong. So as any kind of society, we have to work on several tasks for the prevention, diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation. Normally, the traditional or the former approach was treatment. Often people go to the doctor when it's too late, but the now and future is working actually more, emphasize more the activities on prevention and diagnostics. So monitoring of people and having a better healthy living standard is very vital. And with this, we're looking also for new solutions regarding digital health from Austria. Next slide, please. This is about diagnostic companies. This is, as I triggered, important to find out in the early stage what kind of health status you have. So now I give the example of genomics and SinoMab. They actually made a merger in Hong Kong. They celebrated a huge party for this merger. They're very prominent diagnostic companies. But important is that we really proliferate the activities of diagnostics and medical AI. So the future or the now is that we have new tools with medical AI, and the keyword is biomarkers. You can actually find, for example, for eye disease, a certain biomarker can say if you have glaucoma and AMD in advance, so you can make the intervention in the early phase to recover. And in the future, we are very close to have works within Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease for the early detection that you can also make the intervention for the improvement of your health. Next slide, please. AI for drug discovery, diagnostics. So this is also related to medical AI. I just make it short here. We have a very prominent company called In Silico Medicine, which is working on the proliferation to speed up drug discovery and drug development. And they came actually from America and moved to Hong Kong to create up the headquarters there. This is about when you have clinical trials, they can, I mean, the whole the pathway of creating medicines can take 12 years, 15 years, and you have all these costs and clinical trials can fail. Now, based on the big data and cohort studies and medical AI, you can have actually a better proposition, a better finding of the right compounds and make also more dedicated clinical trials, which should fail less and having actually earlier medicines ready for the approval for the market. Next slide, please. Yeah, pharma revolution in Hong Kong. Here is mentioned the keyword stem cell innovation. Stem cell innovation is very, very special because normally we talk about biotech and medical devices, but when we talk about stem cell innovation, it's about a regeneration of your body. So before we talked about the embryonic stem cell research, we call it ES, was a kind of moral topic, but now we have new tools with IPS, it's called induced pluripotent stem cells. You can actually take a skin sample and reprogram it to embryonic stem cell-like cells and then differentiate it to new, like skin cells, etc. cells. And with this technology, we're going to a new direction. We call it bioprinting, and you can actually make now organoids. And organoids is very interesting. Maybe in the future you can make your own organs in advance, personalized. But more important, I find it important for the clinical trials because we're using often the preclinical services with animal tests. Based on the fact when you have a kind of organoid from a human being, you have actually better data. So maybe we can shorten the clinical trials and we can reduce the animal test activities. Next slide, please. Yeah, Hong Kong Genome Project. This is very prominent in Hong Kong. Like in Europe, you have this kind of studies. You're working on cohort studies. Now we are started with 2,000 cases. We will enhance to 80,000 cases. Why are we doing this? you have always to compare with healthy or not healthy volunteers to get a better understanding about the diseases, you know, also the direction to rare disease, if you have a gene defect, etc., or is it based on the environment? So with this kind of studies, you can actually go direction to better research, better R&D, and possible better medicines in the future. Next slide, please. Yeah, European talents in Hong Kong. Very quick, these are samples already placed in Hong Kong. We have now Medicos AI present today in the workshop. They will outline later. So I will save my talk on this very nice company placing in Hong Kong. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Fundraising capital. Yeah, this is one of the most important topics for biotech companies. You know, you can start a biotech company based on research, and you get this initial funding, seed funding, pre-seed, seed funding, etc., and so on. But then comes the phase of scaling up, and clinical trials are expensive. So when companies in Austria doing very well, embracing the Austrian market, the European markets, then they say we want to enlarge our activities, for example, in Asia. You can find a very elegant way to tap into the funding activities in Hong Kong over the Hong Kong exchange. And next slide, please. And with this, the Hong Kong exchange created a new chapter. If you see the right graph, the right table, it's called Biotech Chapter 18A. This is a kind of pathway to go pre-revenue IPO based on your science. And this will help very promising companies with very good research generating new capital. So maybe some companies will go for 300 or 400 or 500 million US dollar IPO in Hong Kong. And this will help you to leverage not only to enlarge in Hong Kong, but also to spread your business in Asia. Next slide, please. This is an example from the Hong Kong Exchange regarding the company TigerMed. It's a Chinese leading CRO. And they went for several billions Hong Kong dollar IPO in Hong Kong. It's very astonishing. Next slide, please. Prenetics, very quick. When you see this expression SPAC, it's called Special Purpose Acquisition Company. What is it? It's actually a kind of new way to go IPO without underwriters. And this means when you have underwriters, sometimes you have to give them a percentage, so we use some amount of money. But the Prenetics is a new path because very leading companies, unicorns, they have the intelligence, they have the network saying we have the technology ready, and they find a partner to launch the SPARC activity. Here, the company Prenetics from Hong Kong is a Hong Kong medical device company, teamed up with the tycoon Engine Chang, and they went SPARC for 1.7 billion US dollar. That's amazing. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Greater Bay Area. Yes, this I already mentioned. So landing in Hong Kong, you can establish your business. You can engage with the population 7.5. But we have actually created a kind of greater macro setup with the Greater Bay Area. This means besides Hong Kong and Macau, you can reach out to 9 cities and centers with a population of 70 million. It's not only for the market, but it's also for the talent pool and certain R&D works, and also see it like a working bench to optimize your production in Hong Kong, Asia. Next slide, please. Yes, this is the same what I mentioned about the talent pool, but also the infrastructure and services you can get with the enhancement of Greater Bay Area. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So this is the Hong Kong Science Park, and this will be elaborated later. I just give a quick snapshot picture because it's very impressive. This is like a city of city. So you have up to 1,000 tech companies, 13,000 working population, and 350 biomedical companies and 400 startups. You're placing there. You can engage not only with people, you can actually utilizing certain incubation programs which are non-dilutive. And this is amazing. Yes, this will be told later by our colleague. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. And this is my bonus. So the Hong Kong Science Technology Park created a kind of sub-activity to have a kind of satellite campus or greater park in Shenzhen. Actually, this park will be larger than the Hong Kong Science Technology Park. We call it the Hong Kong Shenzhen Innovation Technology Park. And next slide, please. This will give you an extra opportunity, not only doing your activities in Hong Kong, but utilizing new people, human resources in Greater Bay Area over Shenzhen, and also reaching a new business partners. Next slide, please. So everything is larger in China, so you can see the numbers. Just to make the story short, it will be really, the first business will be established in 2 years. You can actually also transfer biomaterial from Hong Kong to Shenzhen and enlarge there. But besides biomedical, we also cover robotics, AI, microelectronics activities there. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So summary is, please engage with us, contact us, we help you, and we help you with the entire journey from your concept, maybe telling you about markets, key opinion leaders, experts, lead customers, and help you also with the final part when you have a kind of question regarding visa and restriction things and regulation. Talk to us. Next slide, please. So this is the summary. Today, I just want to say you this story. We have a very vibrant biomedical value chain, ecosystem. You can tap into the early phase and later phase and the experts. And with a small map there in the corner, you're very centered in Asia. Next slide, please. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. Back to you.
Perfect. And Gregory also speaks perfect German, not Austrian German yet, but soon maybe, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Gregory, we still have, of course, one of the best that Hong Kong, China has to offer. We have also Lixin ZHANG-Auberson from SinoMab with us. Very interesting company because they have a presence already in Hong Kong, a presence in mainland China, of course, and I think they're also expanding to Europe much more. Isn't it like that, Lixin?
Yeah.
To Lixin, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Franz. Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon. So my name is Lixin ZHANG-Auberson. So obviously I have a double name. So I'm from China originally, but I'm living in Switzerland now. I'm based in Basel, so not too far from Vienna. Yeah, but thank you for the organizer, especially Franz, and you know, to invite me or invite our company to this meeting. So really happy to have an opportunity to share with you, you know, this SinoMab, which actually I joined only a few months ago. Very, you know, it's a lot of potential company. Of course, I'm biased, but I'm very enthusiastic about the company and also glad to have this opportunity. Okay, so next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah, I joined the company last year, August, and as a CMO, so Chief Medical Officer. So in essence, I'm actually leading and building the clinical development for the company. Just you know, as a brief introduction about the company, so who we are and what is our vision. So SinoMab, first of all, it is a Hong Kong company and based in Hong Kong, is listed in Hong Kong. And that's the starting point. It's a biopharmaceutical company which dedicated in you know, in immunological diseases. It's basically is focused on monoclonal antibody-based biologics for treatment of you know, immunology diseases. Of course, our vision or the company vision is to become a leader, a global leader in this disease area. Okay. So currently, we are a Hong Kong company. However, we do expand our footprint in mainland China, mainly in we're building the manufactory, the production site in China, as well as commercialization center and clinical development center in China. Meantime, we still keep our R&D team in Hong Kong. Actually, it's in the Science Park, which I visited a couple of months ago. I really like the place. Science Park is a really nice area. I do like it. I do like Hong Kong also. The food is great and the temperature is also nice. Yeah. Beyond that, I will also tell you a little bit about our pipeline and also our currently our company's layout. So next, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. Yeah. Well, when you are actually talking about a biopharmaceutical company, the first question people will ask, so what do you have? Yeah, and what's your pipeline? And that's also, when I was contacted by the recruiter for this position, my first question was the same. So, okay, can you send me information about the pipelines? Then I had to say that's the first part that really attracted me. This slide is already old, and we are in the process of updating this one. But I will take some time to go through with you, probably a little bit small, but yeah. So we have, as of today, we have 3, let's say, clinical stage of compounds. So which SM03, SN1011, and SM17. Okay, all 3 compounds, they are either first in class, first in target, or first in target. So basically, all these compounds are either developed by ourselves or by our partner company. So that's one part I want to re-emphasize, that SinoMab is really focused on the new drug development and a new treatment. So let me start our leading compound, which is SM03. So this was developed by our founder, Dr. Liang. So he is expert in antibody research area, and he also has his developed the technology platform to humanize the monoclonal antibody. So I do have some detailed slides in this deck, which I will not go through in detail, but you will have the slide deck and you'll review it. Okay. So SM17 is an anti-CD22 monoclonal antibody. For people who are not working in the immunology area, so CD22 is one of B cells receptor. As you all know, B cells plays very important role in almost all the immunological diseases, starting with from oncology all the way to all these different disease areas. So, and that's also why it is important when you look at any of the compounds which is the target immune system, usually has quite a broad potential in different disease areas. So you also can see this from these slides. Okay, again, come back to the SM03 is our leading compound. The first indication is in the rheumatoid arthritis. So we have finished the phase 2 study, which we published the phase 2 study already in the scientific journal, which is very beautiful data. I would recommend you to take a look. Currently, the phase 3 study is already finished the recruitment. So we finished the recruitment in December, and we are expecting to have a primary analysis readout in July 2022, which in a few months now. So the study is 6 months double-blind treatment and plus 6 months dose-blind treatment period. In essence, it's a 12 months study. So we are planning to, to initiate a pre-NDA meeting once we have the 6 months double-blind treatment data, which is our primary analysis readout. So the NDA submission will be based on the 12 months data, which the database lock will be January 2023. So of course that will trigger the whole NDA submission and commercialization. So currently this indication is in China. Okay, so beyond the RA indication, and the company, of course, that's maybe before I joined the company, also investigated this compound in other indications. For example, in the lymphoma, that's one. Also in lupus. So we finished already the phase 1 or phase 2A studies in these indications. Then currently we are planning to move forward with lupus indication. So we're preparing the phase 2. So this actually not fully reflects on these slides yet. We will update this one. Okay. That is the SMO3, and we also have a couple of other indications, especially in neuroimmunology and other immune system diseases. We're also looking into it, which is still early stage. Okay. And the second compound, which is very interesting, is this protein tyrosine kinase inhibitor. It's SN1011. I'm sure some of people you hear this class of compound. Since the first generation of this compound has been approved in the oncology indications, mainly in lymphoma. Now this class of compound has been is expanded into different indications, especially in non-oncology immunological diseases. So recently, especially in multiple sclerosis area. Okay, so what we have is really is a third generation BTK inhibitor, which is a reversible and a covalent small molecule with quite very good safety profile. So we finished phase 1 study in Australia, also in mainland China.
I heard Austria already, Lixin, yes.
Yeah, I think about Austria already.
That's very, very good. And Lixin, I will, I think I still want to see this slide with all the sites you have, because this is, now I understand why Lixin has the PhD and I'm only the trade commissioner. You can see, she knows much better than me. But the site, Lixin, because, you cut it a little bit for the next speakers. You have this great slide also about locations. I think that would be very interesting. Can you move forward maybe, Lixin, if you allow? To the new Austrian side, I heard. Yes, okay. Not yet in the map, but can you explain maybe just
the Austrian or the Australian side?
Austria,
because
will be soon,
we will be happy to welcome you to Vienna very soon.
But these are at the moment your sites, I think, Lixin, yeah.
Yeah, so basically, and we have, as I mentioned already, so we have several sites other than Hong Kong to R&D, and it's really we have in Shanghai, we're building the clinical center. So in Shanghai and Beijing, we have most of the clinical teams there. Then in Suzhou, we obtained it's 65 it's 7,000 square meters lands. So we're building CMC in production as well as the commercialization center in Suzhou. And also another site in Haikou, which is in Hainan province. So, and there's a production site. So currently our study drug is produced from Haikou. So, and R&D center will remain in Hong Kong. So we have the, Dr. Liang and his team is there. Okay, so Australia, we have a clinical research, as I mentioned, that where phase 1 study was conducted in Austria. Australia. So just come back to Franz's question, since why I meet Franz when I was in Hong Kong, Australia, and had a chat. And beyond what we have now, so actually keeping in mind. SinoMab, it is it's a global company, and we have global vision. So we are expanding our research and also our clinical trial. So outside of China, outside of Hong Kong. So we have actually US clinical team now. Now I'm looking into the potential in Europe. So, and on the way to, and once the COVID situation is getting better, so actually we actually come here to do the tour to see what we can do, either some research aspect and also from clinical development aspects.
So you don't have to fly so far, not to Australia, only to Austria, I think. Yeah, Lixin, to see.
Yeah, I'm ready to visit Vienna to meet with team there. Yeah.
And I think this is this why we decided on this company, because it has this very interesting footprint with Hong Kong fundraising, mainland China activities, Hainan also, where everyone is talking about, and Shanghai, and very soon Europe, Austria, I heard. So that's going to be great also for the future. So Lixin, sorry, we're going to share, of course, all the slides with you, and I know that they're very detailed also, where you are in the drug development scene and what's going to be coming up. So we're going to share everything with all of you then later on as well. But I think in the interest of time, I would move over to the Austrian side now then as well to give some input about the Austrian life science sector. And for that, I'd like to hand over to Sonja Pollan from Life Science Austria, who has got now also half an hour to get us excited about Austria altogether. Yeah, Sonja.
Yes, Franz, thank you. And as already mentioned, my name is Sonja, and I'm going to guide you through the Austrian session. A very warm welcome also from my side. And during this session, you will learn more about Austria as a hotspot for your vibrant life science companies, and 3 exciting companies as best practice examples. And without further ado, I will hand over to my colleague Marlies Müllner from Invest in Austria, who will give you some insights on Austria as a life science hotspot. Please, Marlies, thanks a lot for joining us today.
Thank you, Sonja. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're based. I'm Marlies Müllner. I'm representing the Austrian Business Agency here today. We are basically the Austrian counterpart to Invest in Hong Kong. So we are also a governmental organization responsible for foreign direct investment promotion. We support foreign companies and founders setting up a business in Austria. And today I'm briefly going to show you what Austria has to offer as a research location and life science location. Next slide, please. Austria has a very strong economy with the 4th highest GDP per capita in the EU, and is one of the most innovative countries. It is shown by the expenditures in R&D. They have risen by 71% within 20 years compared to the EU average by only 23%. So really leading multinational companies rely on Austria with their R&D activities, to mention big names: Amazon, Infineon, Bosch, Siemens. Next slide, please. It was already mentioned, the R&D quota. The increase in R&D expenditures is also represented in the R&D quota. Austria ranks amongst the top 3 countries, above Germany and way above the EU average. Next slide, please. We are only focused on foreign companies for a good reason, because they're very important for Austria and its strength, because only 3.4% of all the companies based in Austria are foreign companies. And those companies are highly productive. They generate almost 30% of the production value. They employ over 40% of all the R&D employees in our country and are responsible for more than half of the R&D expenditures. So especially foreign companies benefit highly from our innovative ecosystem. Next slide, please. The life science sector is one of the most important and vibrant sectors we have. We have 982 companies active in that sector. They employ over 60,000 people and generate a turnover of 25 billion. There are 55 R&D institutions you could cooperate with, and 24,000 people are active in R&D, working in R&D. Next slide, please. The life science companies, I mentioned the 982, can be divided in two parts. So we have biotech pharma. There are roughly 400 companies, a bit over 400 companies active in that sector, and 577 companies in medtech. Next slide, please. One example of a foreign company being very successful in Austria is Boehringer Ingelheim. The German company just opened a new production plant for biopharmaceuticals. They invested 700 million euros in Austria, and they produce now drugs against heart attacks, strokes, cancers for the global market, everything done in Austria. Next slide, please. Another example is Takeda. Takeda announced late last year an investment of over 100 million, also into a biopharmaceutical R&D lab, also in Vienna, and we are very proud of that. Next slide, please. One of the reasons why international companies benefit from our system and strive in Austria is the funding system we have. On the national level, we have the National Funding Institution, the FFG. They offer a broad range of R&D funding. So there are direct incentives, but a thing we have, it's called research premium. This is very unique. It's a 14% tax reduction on all your R&D expenditures. It's a tax reduction or cash payment at the end of the fiscal year. So you really get back 14% on all your R&D expenditures, including costs of staff, materials for in-house research. This is something very unique, especially in the beginning, and does not depend on the size of your company. Next slide, please. Additionally, to the funding system, there is a broad network of institutions available to you here in Austria. So we at the Austrian Business Agency, we really help you unbureaucratically, free of charge, with all the questions, with all the issues you have, and help you all the steps you will face in Austria to be successful. Next slide, please. This was just a brief overview, but I'm happy to answer any questions or get in touch with me. I'm very looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Marlies. And I think as mentioned before, Franz mentioned it already, if you have any questions, just put them into the chat and we will answer them either directly here at the end of the webinar, or if we should lack some time, we will answer them, obviously, of course, in a written form after the event. But now let's move on to our next speaker. And he is from a Viennese company working on the next generation of immunotherapies. And I would like to give the floor to Michael Czeppe, the Chief Financial Officer of Blue Sky Immunotherapies. Please, Mr. Czeppe, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Perfect. Great.
So that means you can hear me.
I can hear you, but I don't see you very well. I think you have to put the camera a bit further up, then I can. Okay. Because I can't see your eyes.
Okay, much better now.
Better now, much better now. Perfect.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So just to give you a short overview on why I'm here. I'm Michael Czeppe, and I'm, as mentioned, the Chief Financial Officer of Blue Sky Immunotherapies. And thank you for the opportunity to present the project here. What is important, so I want to get short back to Mrs. Müllner. We have very much profited from the Austrian grant system. I can really recommend to work with them. It brings a lot of benefits for companies starting their biotech business or life science business here in Austria. So just a glimpse on that. Let me get back to Blue Sky. We founded Blue Sky in 2014, and we were able to raise roughly 12 million since then from grants, but also from pre-seed financing rounds and seed financing rounds. With this amount, we have brought our first indication against HPV-16-induced inflammation, infections, and cancer into phase 1 clinical trials. And this first study phase will be completed by the end of this year. And for us, this marks the start of preparations for the next step in the development of our company. And this brings me to the point where we are here today, where I am here today. We have recently started to evaluate our opportunities in Hong Kong. And from our point of view, Hong Kong is an ideal location to approach the Asian and Pacific markets and thus increase the company value for our shareholders, but also for possible future stakeholders and shareholders in Hong Kong, and thus create some kind of win-win situation. So short explanation why Blue Sky was invited to present here. As mentioned, we started a journey almost 5 years ago to create something extraordinary, something revolutionary, and we set 3 main goals. First, we wanted to create a novel, unique, and proprietary viral vector platform, which should be as widely applicable as possible. Secondly, we wanted the technology to have very low cost of goods compared to competitor technologies like CAR-T, checkpoint inhibitors, gene therapy. Yeah, give me noch 5 Minuten bitte. Checkpoint inhibitors, gene therapy, or chemotherapy. And thirdly, we set ourselves the goal of focusing on neglected or underestimated indications with a massive unmet medical need. We have already reached the first 2 goals, and our viral vector platform is already in clinical trials, as said, and granted in the most important markets, Europe, US, and China, and our cost of goods for 1 treatment cycle is around $5. So that's really low. Currently, we are working on the fulfillment of the 3rd goal. We are in phase 1 clinical trials against HPV-16-induced precancerous infections, lesions in women, and have already reached the primary endpoints, which are safety, tolerability, and the optimum dose. In the coming month, we will find out the best administration route. So coming to our second target, which is a nasal spray treatment of kind of instant prophylaxis against respiratory infectious diseases like COVID-19, respiratory and other respiratory viruses. So just to give you an overview on our technology. Next slide, please. Next, please. In order to realize the potential, an experienced management team is needed. Next slide, please. That consists of Thomas Muster, CEO, Manfred Reiter, Markus Wojcik, and me. We have over 20 years of experience in the biotech field. We're working for worldwide renowned companies. And since we started as biotech entrepreneurs, we were able to raise more than 70 million euro from grants, venture capital, and private equity for our project. In addition, we have out-licensed assets to Big Pharma, and one product has already been approved for the markets. Soon we will finish our phase 1 clinical trials, and we have started Series A fundraising. We need 15 to 20 million euro, and we'll use the proceeds for 3 to 5 different phase 2 trials. And it is also planned to establish a company in Hong Kong and carry out clinical trials there, and maybe also a future IPO. As you can see, we have tried to design an attractive bundle and an attractive package for potential partners and investors. So to short summarize this, we have a completely novel viral vector platform against infectious diseases and various solid cancers. Our platform has already been proven to be safe and tolerable in phase 1 trials. We are ready for multiple phase 2 trials, have very strong proof of concept in additional clinical trials in horses, very low costs of goods of approximately €5 per treatment cycle. And there's a high unmet need with an exceptional business case, blockbuster potential for our indications. We have a comprehensive patent portfolio, and the core patent, the composition of matter patent, is already granted for the major markets. We have an experienced team in science, regulatory, IP, clinical trial, financing, and deal making. So it would be great to get in touch with potential future partners. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Mr. Czeppe. And yeah, so if anybody's interested, please get in touch after the webinar. And just to let you know that we are going to tell you, or I'm going to tell you a bit more about the interesting grants Mr. Czeppe mentioned during his presentation in the next session. But I want to introduce the next speaker of this session today, which is the CEO of Medex, Christian Haberneck. And the company aims to revolutionize the market for allergy and food intolerance testing. Please, Mr. Haberneck, I hand the floor to you.
Good morning from Austria. Let me first say thank you very much to Franz and the team for inviting us, or inviting me, to this event. We have already visited Hong Kong a few years ago on a trade mission, and we were very successful, won a startup competition, and I can just confirm that Hong Kong is a great place, not just for business, but also for going out dining, doing parties. So we had a very good time, and thanks again for hosting us there. I will skip most of the slides from my presentation. You have them online, and I would also like to tell you that our current distributor, Mr. Hamatsu, is also in the meeting. So if you have interest in our products, in our technologies, I encourage you to get in touch with him, and you can also learn about where our products are available already in Hong Kong. From the general perspective of an Austrian life science company, traditionally for European companies, it's difficult to expand, particularly to China and the United States. So for us, Hong Kong has been a good hub where we could launch our products very early, because Hong Kong is not as tightly regulated as China is. So we are very happy that we have a presence in Hong Kong for several years now, and that we are selling more and more successful there. Let me say a few words about our company. So we are almost exclusively dealing with the diagnostics of allergy. Allergy is a global chronic disease that has a huge societal cost, a huge societal burden. And one of the things that we are aiming to do is to change First of all, the dogma of how allergies are diagnosed by introducing our products to the global markets. We have been very successful with that. So we have been founded in 2016. I'm the CEO, founder, and majority owner. So if you will, I'm almost like a president for lifetime for the company. Cannot be unelected. And we have been reaching a lot of commercial successes. We are growing our staff every 2 years. Basically, we're growing our footprint, and we're also massively growing our market share. We are very interested in expanding to China, and we see Hong Kong as an ideal hub. So this Greater Bay Area that we already heard about, that is of course something that will be very interesting for us, but is again not as easy for diagnostic companies as Hong Kong by itself. As a company, we're also very export focused, so we have more than 97% export quote of what we sell globally. So Austria is for us just a small market, although we have profited a lot from the European or the Austrian funding system. So if you are thinking about going to Austria, I can definitely recommend that as well. So the second goal that we have in our mind, other than growing massively and gaining market share and bringing innovation to the market, is to change the monopoly situation that we have, especially in allergy diagnostics, where we have very few or basically one big player. And as in most monopoly situations, there is a limited amount of innovation, and prices are typically higher than they should be for the consumer. So in allergy particularly, we are trying to make a new dogma in diagnostics affordable to the masses by bringing cost-efficient tests, cost-efficient systems, including automation, to the market. So let me just give you a few examples. We have data from European Union that approximately 140 billion of secondary and tertiary costs are wasted in Europe each year because allergies are not diagnosed efficiently and are not treated efficiently based on insufficient diagnosis. So there's a huge societal and commercial potential for improving allergy diagnostics, and that's exactly what we are aiming for. One of the traditional big issues is that there are a lot of in vivo methods, so patients are not tested with highly standardized in vitro methods. A lot of almost crude or ancient methods. So for example, if you test for cat or dog allergy, the typical standard method that is still state of the art in a lot of countries of the world today is to take a dead cat or a dead dog, to scrape off the fur and the skin, then to mash that up in a mixer and use that as a means of diagnostics or even as a means for therapy. So we are very much focused on going molecular with that. So using highly standardized molecular components for diagnostics, and thereby enabling also for therapy to become more efficient, for diagnostics to become more precise, and to put standardization into the field. The problem with what is available on the market today is that, I mean, this is not an innovation that we have invented, that we commercialized first, but the systems that are out there, they are simply too expensive, especially when you go for a highly test relevant or test demanding situations with multi-sensitized allergic patients that need a lot of parameters being tested. So that is what we want to offer to our customers. So we have a one-stop shop allergy test with the approach that this test should be valid for every patient around the world. So we don't focus on local panels like most of our competitors to have either very many single tests or panels for each country, for each clinical symptom. So we say we have one test, and that should be able to make the right decision for each patient globally. And we are also focusing a lot on putting out digital tools. So we see a lot of opportunities and a lot of values from digital business models. So we have a completely cloud-based system. And what we want to do is we want to get an interaction platform for between us as the manufacturer, developer, between the clinical diagnostic labs that are actually doing the tests, but also between the doctors and finally the patients, that should interact closer each other for the for the best of the patient treatment. So this whole digital ecosystem we're building, I think that is a lot of the value proposition that is within our company. I think you will hear a lot about this from my next speaker, from Medicus, because they are exactly dealing with one of the problems that we see. The more complex the diagnostic tools you offer to the doctor are, the better you need to be to offer them tools for understanding them, explaining them, digesting them, and using it for the best benefit of the patient. So if you have any more questions, I'm happy to be available for contact, or you can contact our distributor locally. Thanks again for the invitation. Yeah, and you will have all of our slides online. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Havanek. I have to get one of your test kits now, immediately, I think. You have, yeah.
They're also available for consumers now.
Then, pardon?
They are also available for consumers online, but I would still recommend to go to a LG test center if you're in Vienna. We can link you up with them for sure.
Yes, please, definitely. And last but not least, we have Mr. James Lamb here from Medicus AI today with us, and he's going to explain you more about the AI-powered technology platform to make people understand better their medical data. Please, Mr. Lamb, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, and welcome everyone. I'm the partnership manager of Medicus AI Group in Hong Kong. And the company has been operating for about 5 to 6 years. Just finished the 5th year actually of operation. And we have our mission, we have our technology, and I would like to, is it Corolla? To display the slides for me, right? Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so our mission is to helping people regarding their health and also the medical data. So when we look at this two traditional laboratory reports, it's very complicated, right? There's lots of figures, lots of medical terms, and it's well, actually, when we look at it, we don't know what happened to our health. So we try to get a solution for most of our clients. Next, please. We're using our smart report system. So we coordinate all the medical data for the clients and for the hospital and also for the medical institutes and turn it into a simple smart report display. So you can see the display is simple, it's colorful, and it's easy to understand. Actually, when you click in the small circle, there would be more data explaining the actually the situation and also the meaning of the figures. Next, please. Thank you. And also I have to mention here is the HomeWell application, which is a mobile application just designed for the Hong Kong and China region about 2 years ago. And it's, we got very good response actually. So we started from this year, the HomeWell application will be used on a business-to-business basis rather than B2C. And what we have here is you can see we have a free medical assessment for our clients. And also we can make an order for the medical examination and investigation. And also we will include the smart report in our HomeWell system. Next, please. Okay, so about the background of Medicus AI Group, it's founded in 2016. And currently we have around 100 employees, and about 70% of the employees are basically focused on the technology and developments. And we have 34 or more, should be more, corporate clients working with us, mostly laboratories, medical institutes, and hospitals. And over 34 millions of end users are using our products. What I mean is the smart report and also the HomeWell system. And also we own more than 16 patent applications currently. Next, please. Okay, we have offices in 7 countries, mostly in Europe, in a part of the Asia, and also in Middle East. And next, please. And we are serving over 10 more markets, current market, including Europe, including the Middle East, and also part of the Asia. And there would be more coming actually in this 1 or 2 years, mostly from United States, North America, and also more from Europe, from Asia, and Latin America. Next, please. Okay, it is the very important part of our operation. Actually, it's about the technology platform. And I have to mention about the medical reasoning engine is because it helps us to further develop our service and also operation and helping our clients to develop their databases and also their reporting system, which is called the medical reasoning engine. And what we are expecting is we're using the medical reasoning engine together with other technology platform. We will probably further develop the remote or the virtual consultation, especially in medical field. And one day maybe we can actually replace some major roles of the medical team to helping people. They just stay at home. And then through our service and also our virtual consultation, we can help all the clients to understand what their current health and medical situation is. So this is what we want to achieve. So based on the health data, and also, okay, I saw a message from Franz. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we start from the health data management, but further on, I believe the servicing and also what we can provide will be in a broader and also in a more prospective way for all our clients and for all our partners in Hong Kong and in global. Yeah. Okay, basically, it's the slides are prepared. So the last one should be the next one, please. It's a big thank you. Thank you for your time, and I try my best to explain simply the background and also some of the technology. So in case if anyone would like to know more about the finance, investment, etc., you're welcome to call me, and also I will contact our Austrian team. We can have a chat or online meeting anytime. Thank you. It's okay. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, James. Thanks a lot to all the speakers for being here with us and everybody for joining us at the session. I think I will hand over back to Gregory, who is explaining us more how to tap into Hong Kong markets. And it's quite a tight session because it's only 10 minutes long, isn't it?
Yes, thank you very much for handing over. So we have now the next speakers from the Hong Kong Science Technology Parks and HK Bio. I would say, based on the time, I already gave you kind of introduction about the Hong Kong ecosystem. I would like to call upon Wilson. Take the floor, please. Go ahead.
Hello, thank you, Greg, and thank you everybody from around the world. This is Wilson from the Science Park. Today, I'll go over a couple of important services that the Hong Kong Science Park provides. So next, please. Hong Kong Science Parks, as Greg has mentioned earlier on, hosts the largest tech community in Hong Kong. Therefore, we run a number of different programs and services to help our companies to grow their businesses. And since this session is all about business, I'll be focusing on two specific services. First is our investment support. So in the Science Park, we understand that investment is very important to companies for them to expand, especially for those from overseas trying to expand their business into the eastern part of the world. So under our investment team, we do help our companies to look for investors at different stages. So all the way from angel investment to all the way up to VC funds. So over the years, we have, over the past four to 5 years, we have altogether co-invested close to 1.3 billion Hong Kong dollars. And we own our own investment fund. So the idea is for any companies who successfully secure any external investment, we could match them in order to reduce the risk from our investors. Also, at the same time, our companies will be able to secure the amount of funding that they need. And over the year, as you can see, the average leverage rate is about 1 to 13. So which means that every dollar that the Hong Kong Science Park invests into a technology company, they are able to raise another $13 from the market. So that's built a very good reputation, and a lot of investors do use our services as to leverage on their due diligence when looking into companies that they are interested in. Next, please. So apart from investment, doing business is also very important for companies. So another important service is our HKSTP partnerships team. So what this team does is we go out and engage with corporates. Currently, we are working with over 200 corporate partners. And in the past year alone, we have secured over 500 business matching for our companies with the corporates. So the way we work with our corporates, including corporate engagement, so we understand what the problem our corporates are facing, ask them for their problem statements, and then feed those information to our tech companies so that they can see how their product and services can be adopted or can be customized for our corporates. And we also actively go out and scout for suitable solutions and products for the corporates. Oftentimes, the corporates, they don't even know what kind of solutions or products they are looking for, but they simply give us a scope that they want to look into, and then we go out and look for clusters and groups of technology companies for them to for further discussion or even project co-creation. And obviously, business matching is very important. We every month we run regular business matchings for our startups and for our corporates. And piloting and adoption. So here we work with our corporates to build test labs and to push our tech startup products and solutions into corporates for them to pilot test in real environment, so that after testing, the startup will have better feedback of what the real customer is looking for, what enhancement they need, and then after further enhancing their product and services, the corporates can eventually adopt their solutions into their businesses. Next, please. So here I give you a couple of examples. Earlier on, we worked with a property developer in Hong Kong, which had a large project in renovating one of the historical buildings in Hong Kong. And during this project, we nominated 9 companies into the project so that these products and services can be tested in the area of property management and security for the property. This here in the photo, you can see that they are currently being tested at the site, and some of them are, well, they are actually working with the business unit of the property developer, so that they are gathering real feedback, and hopefully in the next half year or so, their solution will be adopted by the corporates and being rolled out in other sites in Hong Kong. And for fintech, last year we worked with 17 financial institutes, including banks, insurance companies, so on and so forth, for our tech startups to introduce their products into their operations. And it was a 6-month accelerator program, and both corporates and tech ventures work vigorously together to build solutions and services so that the financial institute can use. By the end of the accelerator program, there were actually, I think, 3 projects rolled into the real business operation, and some of them are working with the leading banks in Hong Kong. So because in the interest of time, I'm rushing through the slides, but if you have any question at all, please feel free to let me know, because the Science Park is actually offering a range of different programs and services supporting tech companies of various sizes. So we do run incubation programs, accelerator programs, and we also provide a lot of facilities to support technology companies. since a lot of companies in this seminar are medical related, we do have a lot of different wet labs to for our companies to carry out their R&D activities. So next slide, please. Finally, this gives you a quick overview of what Hong Kong Science Park is about. So actually, in Hong Kong alone, we are operating 6 different sites, and we are currently building our presence in Shenzhen, so which is expected to be available by June. So these facilities specifically designed to help companies from across the border to expand into their business market. So if you're interested, please feel free to leave your contact and reach out, and we shall discuss further on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wilson. So now comes the final part of our sub-session with HK Bio. Now we welcome Sandy Wong, correct? And Dr. Albert Yu? If not, I just give some remarks.
Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
Albert's here.
Thank you.
Okay. First of all, good morning to all the friends from Austria. Thank you very much for Invest Hong Kong for the invitation. So I have a chance to talk to friends in Austria. Hong Kong Bio, as you can see that this is not the slide I really want. No, can I share my slide? I just figured out this, the time allowed for me is about 2 to 3 minutes. So I condense everything into only one slide to make sure you can catch everything I want to talk about. Okay, let me see. Okay.
And Hong Kong Bio is also a little bit responsible that we have this session today because they came up with some good proposals for the Austrians, I think, Albert.
Yeah, let me try to do that. This is the only slide I'm going to talk about today. As you can see that I think Gregory has given us a very good introduction about Hong Kong. So you will see that Hong Kong is a very small place, but it basically has everything. It has everything to do biotech, and then it is a global city. We call ourselves Asian World City. So we all prepare to do global things. And then biotech is a global business. So if you look around in Asia or Southeast Asia, now Hong Kong is probably the only city that you can really do global things, okay? As you can see that we already have a few things to lay out for our future biotech development. Like for example, Gregory has mentioned about the SPAC recently. We already have over 10 of them lining up, and I happen to be involved with the second SPAC being approved by the stock exchange. And then we have this 18A, chapter 18A from stock exchange, where all the biotech company, before they even make any profit, they were able to be IPO. This is not limited to only company in China. It is open up to all the biotech company in the world. So it is a beautiful thing because as you know that Hong Kong is the second biggest fundraising hub. And then we have funding from all over the world, including China. And then we got to remember another thing is that Hong Kong is different from Singapore and other places because we do have a huge market in our back garden, mainland China. It's so huge, but you have to be over here to understand how to operate in this huge market. And that is growing tremendously. Even under the COVID-19 pandemic, this is the only place in the world it has an economic growth. So don't underlook this, this potential. And another thing is that if you look around, basically Hong Kong has everything, but we think we lack of something is a big convention, a global convention to bring everybody over here. We talked to Bio Japan, Bio Thailand, Bio Taiwan. They all said that this market is too huge. No, like for example, Thailand, they said no, they have a duty to go to China to find potential collaborators, etc. But China is so huge. They really want us to create a conference that will bring out all the Chinese company to come to Hong Kong, so we can all meet over here to create networking. So that's why we decide to do this Bio Hong Kong thing. Okay, we call it Bio Kaleidoscope because we believe biotech is with infinite possibility. So that's why we would like to invite you all to come to Hong Kong. We originally tried to do it in 2020. Unfortunately, we have all this activity going on. At the same time, we postponed it, and then we have this COVID-19 thing going on. So we have to postpone it to the end of this year. Okay, because we want to think that the best way to do business is face-to-face. This is not only by virtual. So now we meet each other through computer, but if you have a choice, I'd rather to see you in Hong Kong. So the whole meeting will be tailored out for East to meet West. So the whole meeting will be run bilingually. So there will be a lot of VC or LP, etc. They will come to Hong Kong from China, although they may not be able to attend any other international conference if they use English as the major language. But in Hong Kong, you will be able to meet them person to person and in either English and Chinese. So by looking into this, got to remember one thing, okay? Hong Kong is part of China, but we consider we have a different system. So we are kind of outside China. So you will find Hong Kong so familiar to you. And then using Hong Kong as a station to radiate into China or to reach any part of South Asia will be so convenient. So I urge you to come to this conference that will be in December this year from 14th to 17th. And in this meeting, we have conference. That means all the company can come over here to present new development, new technology. At the same time, we have exhibition. Okay, this is what we already endorsed by most of the government department in Hong Kong. At the same time, the Ministry of Science and Technology in China and the Chinese Academy of Science, they all will be supporting this convention. And all the high-tech part in China has already agreed to come once the border or we are free to travel. So this will be one of the conference that I don't think anybody should miss if you ever want to explore this part of the world, especially in the turn of biotechnology. So I don't think I should take up more time. This poster, we will be sending to you. Another thing I want to bring to your attention, just like we are having, we spent half a year to collect a database. Now in this conference, we already have about 40,000 database, contact biotech database, only from the Greater Bay Area. That means next to we have 9 plus 2, 11 cities around this area. So you will think about if you come to this conference, you're going to meet the person or make the collaboration or maybe even seek for IPO in Hong Kong. So I'll stop here. So I hope to see you this December in Hong Kong in person.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yu. This is wonderful. I just want to add one thing. I'm very delighted to know that Dr. Tony Chan is also board member of your committee. And I'm very familiar with Dr. Tony Chan from Jones Day because I'm very connected to the Bay Helix group. But this is another topic. I'm just very trusted that you have the expert on your board. Thank you so much.
We have Bay Helix as one of our co-organizers. At the same time, if I have one more minute, I introduce you to this book over here. Okay. Oh, it doesn't come up very well.
It's a thick book.
This is a book that we written in Chinese. This is teaching you how to find the next unicorn in this part of the world. The one of the director, Mr. Liu Da, is in our audience, and he will be one of our keynote speakers too. And then at the same time, this book will be translated into English. By the time you come to Hong Kong, this book will be English. So it will be a gift for you. No, come to Hong Kong.
No, we sure want to come. And you also have the people, of course, from Life Science Austria here. So that's also a good idea. And of course, and I see even Sonia very, very close by to form partnerships also, maybe, you know, Hong Kong Bio and Life Science Austria.
Yeah, please. No, because we
Sonia,
already have about 14 international organizations being our global partner. I'll probably send you the invitation very soon. So be part of us.
Sonia, you have to unmute. You have to unmute yourself, Sonia.
I think we received even an email from a colleague of yours, Mr. Yu.
Okay, so I see partnership agreement coming up.
Yeah.
Okay. And Sonia, you have the last part with us, though, yeah. So I think some more small hints for Austria, and then I think we can click individually and chat still a little bit. But
yes,
some more
because I think we are running a bit late already, and we don't want to keep the people from their lunch and their dinners and in Hong Kong and the lunches in Austria. So let's move on to the last session of today's webinar, which is again a tap into the market sessions. And now we are talking about Austria. And I think the Austrian speakers have already mentioned that there's, and Malis as well, that they have their interesting grants for companies setting up shop in Austria, moving to Austria, or setting up a company in Austria. And just in very, very short, I'm going to give you an overview of what we at Life Science Austria have to offer. And basically, we are at Life Science Austria, we are a program by the Austria Wirtschaftsservice, and my face has turned very red now. And we are, the Austria Wirtschaftsservice is the Austrian Promotional Funding Bank. And Life Science Austria is basically a comprehensive program supporting Austrian life science startup, a high-tech, deep tech startup along the whole value chain. Next slide, please. And we are basically offering support from the pre-formation phase with a business plan competition, which is called Best of Biotech, but covers biotech as well as medtech and digital health applications, and meant to start in its 10th round this May. So maybe I will share with you the information after this webinar, as well as what is most interesting, of course, is the financial grants. And this is actually quite interesting because for the setting up of Austrian life science, high-tech or deep tech startup, just for setting up the company, we have a non-refundable grant of up to 200,000 euros, just for basically the pre-formation phase to the point where you set up the company. And as a further grant, we have a conditionally refundable grant of up to 800,000 euros for formation and expansion. And we basically fund setting up costs, location costs, personnel costs, as well as this is meant to fund the creation of prototype. And this covers biotech, traditional biotech, medtech, as well as digital health applications. And the AWS Life Science program also covers later stage support, which is helping in cooperation, of course, with Advantage Austria, as well as Invest in Austria, internationalization of Austrian companies. Next slide, please. Basically, just a broad overview, the internationalization efforts of Life Science Austria are in cooperation with all regional life science clusters and comprise delegations to all leading international life science conferences, as well as traditional marketing efforts. Next slide, please. And what are the other ways you can tap into the Austrian markets? We have a lot of interesting grants, as already mentioned, apart from the Austrian LISA Life Science Austria program. The Austrian funding bank, Austria Wirtschaftsservice, has plenty of other grants, loans, equity, and funds. All this information is available on www.aws.at. Then we have the Austrian Research Promotion Agencies, which is also offering interesting grants as well as loans for the life science projects, programs, and companies. This information you can find at www.ffg.at. And there are also plenty of Austrian regional funding agency in the different Austrian regions. And if you are looking for partners in Austria, I can direct you to the Austrian Life Science database, where you can find all companies basically active in life sciences at lifesciencesdirectory.at. Yes, that's about it. If you have any further questions, please, you can directly contact me directly. Thanks a lot.
So, thank you, Sonia. I think lots of money available, you can see, but I think
yes,
most important that came across from the Hong Kong side and from the Austrian side, the contacts and the people behind. And I think also Professor Yu spelled it out so correctly. You know, all the money of the world does not help if there are not people behind and partners that shake your hands. You know, not everything can be digitally. Carola, I just mentioned, you know, there will be some few more slides. That's just one more slide. Only one more. I have to mention one more support program, which is called ZHANG-Go Austria and ZHANG-Go Asia. It's mostly, there are special programs in Austria to support startups and young innovators to conquer the market. And this might be of interest if someone from a scale-up, a startup from Hong Kong is interested in the Austrian market. There are even specialized programs, calls to go and experience the Austrian market free of charge, even subsidies for traveling paid, and vice versa. We also have programs for Austrian startups to come to Hong Kong, and there we always knock on Wilson's door, of course, you know, Hong Kong Science and Technology Park and Invest Hong Kong, very good partner for all these efforts. But I think we had enough slides now, lots and lots of information. So I think this concludes the regular input from our side. I hand over maybe to my friend and colleague Wing-Hin Chung, also in Berlin. Lots of information, so lots of homework for us though as well. Yeah, to further follow up, you know, of the baby. Hopefully, that's being a little bit in you know, in one room at least already. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we heard wonderful information from all speakers, and I really would like to thank everyone for their really valuable contribution. And also, I cannot add more than what Professor Yu said at the end. Come to Hong Kong, seeing is believing. We have to meet in person in order to really foster more cooperation. And I hope that the borders in Hong Kong will be open to international visitors by December this year, if not earlier, and that we will all meet at the Bio Conference in Hong Kong. This is the way how to enter the Hong Kong and the Chinese market, meet people, foster partnerships, and learn what the market is needing, and then you can build and grow your business from Hong Kong. Thank you very much, Franz, for organizing this wonderful webinar.